Hans and I are just sitting here. Sometimes sometimes we turn these Facebook Lives into podcasts, either the Ronin Radio or Hans's seduction show, or sometimes both. But sometimes we get into a conversation before we get into a conversation always before we start. We decide what do we want to engage about. And this morning first it kind of went off the rails, as it sometimes does. And then we started talking about what is that? What the hell is that?
This is my way of letting the world know that you're to blame for it.
Yes. Okay. Yeah. Thank you. But so this morning good thing this isn't going to be a podcast episode, all right? Because I'd be wailing on you right now. But we had a long conversation this morning. We never started the podcast, but we've committed ourselves. Let's just go live every day, even if we don't do a podcast.
Yeah, and it was a good conversation. Because I always, since I was born, I have to keep reminding myself, honor first, always. Whenever I interact with people, honor first, always. And I stand for it, because I talk about seduction in the way of honor the other in their world first, then and only then you can guide them to a place you both want to go.
Yes.
And then I keep forgetting it.
Well, sometimes a wise man once said that we teach what we most need to learn.
Yes.
Hence, that's why you teach seduction.
Oh.
And why I teach honor.
No, if this were true, you would be a fitness coach.
And you'd be a comedy coach.
All right.
Jesus.
No, honor first always to me is so, a great reminder to me.
Yeah. What was that joke you were just telling?
What do you mean? We haven't honored the audience? We haven't honored the black community? Very interesting thought to me. And why is it so easy to forget? Because we have a life of navigating relationships with judgment. Why does that come so natural? Why does honor not come so natural? Or where did it go?
What do you mean? Why does it not come so natural?
Like, why is it so natural to me? Why is it so hard? Why is it so hard to honor first always? Why do I keep forgetting? Meaning, why is it much easier, much more natural, to navigate relationships through judgments first, And if it was as natural in the beginning, why did I lose the honor as the compass?
That's such a great question. I mean, I'd love to have a full episode on this, but my first thought is, do we live in a culture of honor? Are there some cultures of honor that exist now?
Wow, yes. Japan.
And I think of like a monastery.
Yes.
Or places like this.
Or even the old West, like the cowboy movies, they were very much driven by honor.
Maybe different kind, yeah. But I think people mean different things by honor as well. But we live very much in especially in America, where, first of all, respect is very low. It's very low on the. We value respect much less than a lot of cultures. Mm-hmm. To us, saving face is not that important. We value freedom of speech much higher than respect or image or saving face.
I saw, I read about, and I experienced it because it fascinates me to know. And when I go to Japan and how I feel spacious there. People say, there's a lot of people, but I feel spacious. And it is because I always feel seen, felt, and heard. Because, and I read about this, the Japanese, and by extension, a lot of the Asian people, they always have in mind the other.
Yes.
And it's all like in the West, it's me, and
Yes.
and there is like the other is like
Yes.
is equally important, and it feels it's so welcoming in a way, you know. I feel so spacious and
Well,
seen.
it reminds me of being in some place like Thailand or Vietnam, and you have so many people on the road with motorbikes and buses and bicycles and people walking.
Yes.
But everyone just kind of flows.
It's incredible.
It's not. If you were in the U.S.,
Yes.
that situation would be very dangerous and chaotic.
When came to Chiang Mai and I was riding there with my bike and I see the traffic and I say, whoa, that's dangerous, you know. And as soon as you go in, I feel zero danger because none of them wants to go first. They don't want to go first. It's a complete like dance and harmony, and actually you see that a little bit in Brazil here too. There's not much, like they don't want to go first.
Just because they don't know how to drive.
It's crowded, but they let people in all the time, you know. It's still a bit dangerous but anyway, in Asia is the other is always part of the equation. That's why when they don't lock their bikes, you know. That's why when they find a wallet.
We really pride those who go first, stick their neck out, take the risk.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you think of Hollywood stars and musicians and entrepreneurs and cowboys, and the whole thing is like, we really honor leaving the pack,
Yes.
standing up, going first, and we don't honor the taking care of the community.
Yes.
And the other.
Wow. Yes, and
although-
there is honor first always, you know, because saving face is so important there too.
Yes.
You know, you cannot bring shame to the
Yes.
other.
Like, to me, it means something a little bit different. Well, I mean, I can't speak of Japan. I haven't been there, and I've never been Japanese. But
No?
what I mean to say is that, like, for me personally, I wouldn't call saving face honor. You know, that's more about respect. That's more about, to me, the way I understand respect is essentially, I'm not going to violate you. I'll respect I'm not going to violate you with violence. I'm not going to violate you with bringing shame to you. Basically, that's what respect is. And so to me, it's more about respect. But, you know, when you bow to someone, like in Thailand, you give someone money, and they accept it with a bow, you know? Like there's some remembering of the sacred.
Yes.
There.
It's decorum and the ritual
And the Buddhist culture.
yes. Well, I tell that story. I told you already when I was in a train, and this old couple comes in and they put their bags up, and then I see them leaving and they forget their bags. I take the bags and I give them, and I get back in the train. And as I'm leaving the station, you know, these two, the old man and his wife, you know, they just bow like this, you know. And there's such a, why I'm saying is this, because it inspires in you such, you know, I'm not gonna, you know, you want to be like that. You want to, it feels so good, you know, and you want to behave like that. And so we have way less a culture that cultivates honor, say, as a tool to navigate relationships. And so it's easy to forget. It's easy not to be trained in it. It's much easier to resort to judgments.
We're not trained in it.
Yeah.
We're not. And if you think about that, we were talking about a conversation that you had on a Facebook forum board with another guy. That's how we had the conversation started this morning. And for you, it was much higher value to speak your truth, to say what you thought you should say something. You should speak up and say something. Like, I should speak my truth, and I have a voice, and like, these were the things that you valued. And what's true, and what's right.
Yes.
Right? But nowhere in your value hierarchy, at least nowhere near that level of valuing those things, was, let me take care of this guy, let me bring honor to this guy. It's much lower value.
Well, not
and that's,
take care maybe, but honor no.
That's normal.
Like
that's Western society.
Because I did have thoughts of like, an ally would call him out, so I should do it. But the honor was not there. Like, I didn't honor him. I remember my intention was there to like take care, in the sense, and an ally would take care and call out the bullshit, you know. I don't know if that was a motivation or a justification, whatever, you know. But the honor was not there. There was no point that I honor, and that's the reminder for me, you know. Honor first, always.
And Stephen Covey said, seek first to understand, then to be understood. And seeking to understand is honoring.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Yes.
It's let me not just assume that I know you,
yes,
or your situation.
Yes.
Let me be curious and where are you? What are you facing? What did you mean by that? And give someone else space.
Imagine shifting through this training, you know, because you have the honor window, the setting context of honor, inner conflict, that, well, it's a bit different. But through the training, you know, imagine that you shift from using judgment as the default way, you know, to using honor as the default tool to navigate relationships, you know. I'm angry with myself of like forgetting it, you know. I should honor myself. It's improving a lot, you know. But imagine that, you know, how powerful it is. We saw it last week when I was talking to Zan, and it just came almost like it was not planned, or, you know, but I could be in that state where I honored first, you know. And it's just overwhelming. It's a really great, beautiful, felt experience that makes magic happen, you know?
Yes.
And so that's why I'm also angry when I see, fuck, I forget it again. Yeah. I forget it again.
Yeah.
You know?
Well, you will many times.
No.
Yes.
This was the last time.
You will many times. You know,
you forget it?
It's like talking with your mouth full. If you have a habit of doing something, that's just the way that you do it, and you haven't been conscious of it your whole life. Mm-hmm. And you've been standing for the other thing your whole life, speaking your truth, saying something, this kind of thing.
Yes.
That's your whole training is about that. And so to expect that somehow all your wiring will just change because you learned something intellectually, that's it's not fair. It's there. Just because you learn something doesn't mean that your whole neurology is transformed.
But what a great I'm talking about, because this is incredible. Like, what a great opportunity, like, to see all this, like, to see my own judgment, to see how easy it is for me to use judgment as the compass with which I navigate my relationships, to see where it's coming from, like, that I didn't have any training in it, to see also that there is a training in it, you know. We could do the honor window, we could practice like we're doing the marital arts, we could practice, and it is getting better, you know. And I've experienced that when I use honor as the navigating tool, that just, it feels great, and there is this magic that happens, you know. What a great realization, you know, and what a great model to like keep training,
Yeah.
Because you could save your relationships, the ones that have gone sour. You can resuscitate them, and you can and they're essential. The honor is essential to keep growing and to keep your relationships with your partner, with your family, with your friends, with your community, with the people you meet online, you know, on boards. You can keep that thriving, you know? So,
well, the power that many of us know firsthand and we're used to is the power of judgment. You can make things happen through judgment. If you judge yourself enough, you can change your behavior. Mm-hmm. If you judge someone else enough, they'll change their behavior. Like we're very skilled in the way of judgment, and it feels powerful, and we feel righteous when we do it, and we get to channel the anger or the feeling like we're right and we're, you know. But it has its limits, you know. Judgment can go so far but for example, it can't make miracles happen. It can't open a space where miracles can happen. And that ability to make miracles happen is a totally different kind of power. It's a completely different kind of power.
Yes.
And it's not a linear power.
No.
It's not like you make it
It's
happen.
not a penetration. It's more like there's a surrender. It's crazy how like when I was doing it last week with the group, it's not this forceful thing. It was not even like thought of, I'm going to do this. It was really like, I felt an incredible surrender, to receive what was there. And it's so much more powerful. It's so much more powerful.
Yes.
Well, I'm drawing lines now with the power to surrender, the power to seduce, the power of being on an adventure, like more that welcoming and just be in spirit than I want to make this happen.
Yes.
I'm going to judge you into transformation.
Well, for my first, I would say, maybe 6 or so boot camps, when I'm basically training people in the honor work. A lot of times I was coming from judgment. These, people still sitting in their seats, and I'm like giving them this chance to do this great honor work. I'm standing in front of the room, trying to bring them to miracles, to the honor world, and to miracles, and some of the time through judgment. Trying to make them get up here, and like mixing the honor with the judgment, and I went to a whole other level in powerful when I really got what I was doing, and I gave that up, and I just paid attention to that, because creating that space of honor, creating that context of honor for everyone to be inside of, and then they step up, and you don't make it happen. You don't make it, but you just do it, and then it's like, okay, all those people in those other boot camps that I was judging, it's like my idea about them was wrong. Because if there had been a different space there, they too would have stepped into it. Who wants to do something out of judgment? There can be a stand that they're making by saying no to my judgment. Yes. So anyway, it's
like the pickup, it's feeding off the like some things will happen, but it's feeding off the insecurities of people. And when they judge themselves so much, like, fuck, I gotta change this. But if it's real seduction, you let the other shine. And that's what honor is. You give him a space to step into and say, wow,
Yes.
I'm great.
Yes.
Incredible. It's a good reminder to myself, again and again.
Yeah. Well, my default way is for sure judgment. And I really enjoy it, like with you. I mean, we spend most of the day going back and forth, kind of battling each other, but we have fun with, it's the foundation is one of honor. We know that we're allies.
I'm really hurt by it.
So on top of that, we can bring a lot of joking and teasing and judging and all that sort of thing. But so for me, judgment is part of my aliveness and my enjoyment of life and giving people shit. But I always know that it's based on, like, I'm an ally for everyone. And if I sense I've gone too far, I'll bring it back, and I'll create the honor, and I'll make it right, But
because that was the solution I was thinking of yesterday, when I went on the board and called people out,
When you went on the board?
I called people out, and I could see even in the arc.
What was the solution?
The solution is go back now and honor them. And I've seen I do this, like, first, like stir up and like provoke something, and then make it right. But I much rather love the honor first always.
Yes.
Because I don't want to give myself an excuse to lash out with judgment.
Yeah. Well, the forum board, the online situation makes it more difficult because you don't have, someone's not right there with you present. You don't know what they're feeling.
But a great insight into the differences between guiding or navigating your relationships with judgment or with honor. And I've experienced, and I'm training in coming with honor first, because I've seen how it makes me feel, and I've seen the magic that could happen for the relationships, both in saving them and in continually lifting them up higher and higher and higher. All right. See you guys tomorrow. Can't finish it.